And if everybody could mute their mics, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate that. All right, and welcome everybody. We really appreciate you joining us today, or me today, for BCOE Tech Live. And I'm going to be covering a really cool application. I looked at it last year, actually. We were looking at different platforms just to see, what was out there, and found Genially. And I worked with it a little bit last year and really liked it. And then, we've been working on a lot of other things. And then it's just kind of, I've been seeing it on Twitter, and we've seen some of our faculty members have used it. And so we thought it might be a great opportunity to do kind of a PD day on it. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay. And all right, Tracy, can you see the Genially screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Can y'all hear me okay?
We can.
Yes. Perfect. All right. That's fantastic. Okay, so I'm logged into Genially now, but just want to kind of give you some information about it. It's a free platform. There is a pay-for platform too that gives you some additional templates, and really cool templates. I've got to tell you, there's some of them, it's like, oh, I just really would love to have the pro version of it. But there's an educator account versus a pro, but still you can use the free and never pay a dime for it. What are some of the things that are really cool about it? I think a lot of it is that we know that information can be very visual, and with Genially it definitely happens. It's really good as far as visual communication, and it lets you create really incredible communication experiences. And it's animated. It just really brings your data or your information to life. That's really amazing. So I'm going to turn off my screen, and I want to focus on now. I want to show you some samples, and I think you're going to really love these. So first of all, here's one that was created, and I've actually gone out. I spent a lot of time going out and seeing what educators are using it for. I go out on Twitter a lot. I love, if you're not doing that, if you're not looking at Twitter, it's something you might want to create an account and just start following, different people. Go out and look for, search for Genially, and then you'll start seeing some examples. And that's kind of what I did. I started going out, and then people that I follow in education were sharing some things as well. But here's one that was created by Becky King. She's the author of Sell the 7 C's, which I want a copy of it. I'm so excited. I'm supposed to be getting it anytime. But anyway, she created this infographic, and look at the colors. It's just so, engaging when you look at the colors, and it talks about, be safe. And it's really one to use that she uses, as she's an instructional coach, to use with teachers, and talking about, have a heart, be patient in your challenges, show your students that you care, most of all, as in being human beings, right? And we know through all of with COVID and the pandemic, it's really that social emotional piece is really important. So instead of just typing it in an email, isn't it awesome that you can put it in a platform and in a format that is just really kind of beautiful to look at? So this is one that I wanted to share with you. The next one is going to blow your mind. I'm just going to tell you, it's going to blow your mind. So let me start it from the front. Here we go. It's a Harry Potter theme. I will tell you that this one is a pay for. If you want to get this theme, it's a pay for theme. So you have to, if you decide you want to purchase Genially, then you can get this one. But I still wanted to show it to you because I felt like that just to show you what kind of opportunities you have. So this one is another instructional coach, Kathy Krasnowski, and I follow her and talked with her on and off for a while. And I happened to look, and sure enough, she had one that she shared that she's an instructional coach as well. and found this just this past week and just thought it was great. So she has a team of instructional coaches, and she sent out this thank you to them for the work that they did. And as you click on the like right arrow, it just transitions from page to page. So you can see how the graphics, the animation that comes in, just the graphics alone is very, the visuals are really amazing, I think. And again, she put some information. You can just go in these templates. All the graphics, all the animations, all that are in there, already done. And you just go in and you can modify the text. You can pull in different graphics if you want to. And I'm just kind of scrolling through so you can kind of see what she's done with this, information that they're doing in their schools. And again, look at the lightning, and they're awesome. They have one good thing about Genially is that there are copyright-free images that you can pull from through Unsplash and through Pixabay. They're automatically searchable, so you can find like the word for support. She was able to go find that very easily and pull that in. And then again, you have all of these different vials, and I thought, how fun is that? You can click on them and it takes you to another web page. So if I click on it, it'll take me, she said smiles, so it does this gift just of a bunch of smiles, which is kind of fun. All right. And then at the very end, she says, thank you. And I mean, PowerPoint's great, but wow, is this something? It's just amazing, I think. Lots of fun. All right. So here's another one. This next one I really like because it's free. And it is a Disney theme, The Magic of Nearpod. And you can go through again and look at some of the visuals. And look at the little fairy godmothers. Isn't that fun? Things can be fun and still you can share great information and it still be fun, right? So, and this is awesome because so we're sharing like, instead of just a list, just a regular list of, how do you know more or how can you learn more about Nearpod? Well, how about on-demand webinars? You click on it, takes you to the website. This help page, what about? Let's click on Pinterest and it'll pop you over to a Pinterest page with tons of ideas for Nearpod. You could do the same thing no matter where or who what department you work for, what college you work for. You could use this in the same kind of context, make it more fun and, engaging. And use some of these templates like this one. And this is a free one too. So that's what's nice. It comes with the free account. All right, and this one talks about Immersive Reader. And if you don't know about Immersive Reader, you might want to, go out and do some, just do a quick search on Immersive Reader because it's a great tool for all users, actually. And then here's some pro tips again. And she has, some hovers. You can hover over and get some information about each one like this. All right. And look, that's fun. Captain Hook. All right, so that is that's one other one that's really great. Now, the next one is an interactive page. And this one, I love this. Advice for becoming a Jedi of Microsoft Teams. Like, oh yeah, isn't that great? Look at the graphic right there. All right, so these basically you can just hover over them. And I believe Seth Farrell was the one that put this one together. And so it's pretty fun. Use your headphones, and he used graphics in there with it, which is a lot of fun. All right, there you go. So pulled, his Bitmojis in and just pop those in. And so you can personalize it for your, for your own use, right? Chat responsibly. So when you think about this, how fun would this be, to have that and share that versus just a regular list, of what to do. It's just, very visual. And I don't know about you, but I actually like visuals like this. Another one of our K-12 partners did. And again, they did Flipgrid Madness. So you can go in and, and you basically can link these to, whatever web page you want, or it could be an actual Flipgrid itself. Like, for instance, this travel guide. I tried pulling this up a little earlier in the video, kind of was slow. I'm not sure why. But a video pops up and she talks about Ireland and all like that. So it was really pretty great. But she uses this the same way. So it's a whole month that you can look, you can take it and people can look and learn how to use Flipgrid in the classroom. So I thought this is another great way. And you could do this, whether it's your own content or if you're a department and you want to share different things, you can do that as well. And then let's take a look at this one. This is the pyramids of Giza, and you have different, different hovers that you can go over and click on. This is kind of interesting. Did you know that the construction of the pyramids began and the mammoths were not yet extinct when they actually built the pyramids? I had no idea. I thought that was kind of interesting, but just kind of fun. And so you have these little prompts. Where are they? And then you click on it, and then it gives you a window. Like, here's a map, so you can see kind of where it is, and you can actually pop out if you want to and take a look. There are videos that you can include. I like that when I included that. I thought it was a pretty nice one. And then here's more information again that you can just like have a little, little tip, I guess is what they call it. And then the Great Sphinx, if you want to actually see what the Sphinx looks like, a little bit of information. So think about this too. Now, this is one that your students could actually use. And with K-12, you're supposed to be 14 or older, and there's supposed to be parent permission, just as a FYI for our BCOE folks that, are talking to our our pre-service teachers rather. When we talk to them about, using certain platforms, we do want to talk about that, as far as who can use it, what age. But of course, our students at KSU and in our College of Education can set up their own account. But isn't this an awesome way? Wouldn't this be great for them to be able to present something if they're doing some type of assignment for you? Maybe they can do it in this visual format versus just a standard, written assignment. Really, really great idea. And they can still share all the information that you want, through your rubric. They can still share that information just in a visual format. All right. And then this one, I actually created this. I was working this week and I thought, I kind of said, what, let me go out and see what we had for KSU. And I found that we had a video out on YouTube. It was a virtual open house that the BCOE actually provided, and had this year. And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be neat to kind of pull that in and kind of give them some visuals about KSU, right? So you can go in and hover over certain elements, right? And this talks about, the College of Education, rather, gives them a little bit of information about the BCOE. Here's a map of where we're located. All right. How about another view of the building, maybe from a different angle, which is kind of fun. And then also, what about the statue that's in front of the buildings? All right. Y'all may have walked by that particular statue at some point. You can also pop out and go to the BCOE website where that person can get a lot more information. And then when you hop back, we have a YouTube video that's here. And I'll tell you something about that, where it started, in just a minute.
Welcome to the second day of KSU's virtual open house. My name is Jordan Stevenson. I'm the Director of Student Recruitment. And before we get started with our awesome folks from the Bagwell College of Education, I want to talk a minute about how you should do virtual open house. Yesterday, huge success, was a fantastic day. You heard from admissions, you heard from the College of the Arts, and it was just, the experience was top notch. College of Science and Mathematics closed us out. Tons of interaction, tons of comments. We hope for the same thing today. So how should you do virtual open house? Well, if you're at home and you have access to cast this thing, what we're doing now, streaming live to Facebook and YouTube, if you can cast it to your TV, do that. It's going to make this environment even bigger for you.
Okay, and I'll stop it right there. So basically they ran, I guess, a live virtual open house, and then they recorded it, obviously, and then they saved it to YouTube, or I guess they may have done a YouTube live. And what's great about that, though, is that we can still go watch it on YouTube. But then what if we have this kind of platform to bring more information together? It could be documents, that they might want to look at, PDFs that you want to share with them. You might want to take them like to their Facebook page. We can put their social media links on here, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And so this might be for any department, for any college. This is just another way to bring in, graphic elements, information in a way that maybe you've never thought about doing before. And so I thought maybe this was one that I'd share with you. Hopefully, might give you some ideas or spur some ideas. And with that, I want to stop and see, does anybody have any questions before I actually hop into Jeanly? I can't see the chat. So Tracy, are you still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing in the chat, I take it.
Ethel's asking, how do you create a Jeanly? But I think you're going to get to that.
I'm going to get to that. Sure am. So thanks for that, Ethel. I appreciate it. Okay. Anything else, Tracy, or was that it?
How do you know which ones are free for use?
I'll show you that in just a second. Good questions. All good questions. So I'm going to go ahead and hop in. And if Tracy, if you need to ask me something at any point, you're welcome to do that. And I'll try to stop here and there as well. So I'm going to hop back over to my first window over here. And so when you log in, let me tell you about Jeanly. You go to it's GENIAL.ly, okay, .com. And or just type in Jeanly, just like I told you, and it'll take you there. When you go in, you create an account. It's going to ask you, are you an educator? Are you a professional? So it's kind of two different account kind of things. And it'll give you an option to, to pay for it. You don't have to, but I do want to show you the differences very quickly in what you get with the pay for and what you get with the free. Most of us, I think, can go with the free and be happy. I don't think I think you'd be fine. But there's some really cool templates that you won't have access to unless you pay for them. So you can see for free with the education account, you have unlimited creations, unlimited visits, which is super because a lot of freebies will give you 10 or a paddle will give you 5, that kind of thing. So it's great that you can set up as many as you want. You can have links, all right, that you can pull from it. Private links are available for the pay for, obviously. If you do the pay for, you can import PowerPoint, which we can't do that with the free version, all right? And then you can kind of see, again, some of the things, these things you may not care about. Some of these are more for branding. At the same time, you may want to brand. If you're doing something for your college, you may want to brand it, so you might want to have the pay for account. Privacy, everything we set up is public, okay? And so that means that anybody can see it. That doesn't mean that they can use it. You can, decide whether or not somebody else can borrow or use your template and maybe create something, edit it and create something else. It will not impact yours. It's just they make a copy of it. And then also, if you pay for it, you can download it into either JPEG, PDF, or HTML, which you cannot do with the free version. For me, though, it's all right. You have a link to the presentation, so it's fine. And then lastly here, you have free templates, free resource gallery. You can do graphs and charts, etc. The biggie that you're missing is a premium templates. And also another big thing that's wonderful is you can collaborate. You can actually work with people in your department, or students can work in groups or teams and work on projects together, which is really nice. All right. And so that's just kind of, if you look at it, there's the differences. The program is very robust. I think most of us can probably have free and be fine, but just wanted to let you know about it. There's also a training academy that's free. The Jean Lee Academy, you can search for that too. And there's additional training there. So there's plenty of training available if you'd like that. And so that's just a little rundown on, if you decide you want to look at, a different, pay structure for what you get. All right, so this is the main interface. Once you get logged in, you create your account, you go in, you set an educator account up, you choose free, then it comes to this page. And I have set up different Jean Lees so far, so yours won't have any at this point, but you can go in and create them. I do want to show you, I want to start with just looking at the inspiration board, and there are plenty to look for. I mean, just tons that you can look for, all right? And you can just scroll down, and you see some of them have infographics, and some of them are images. Some are presentations. There's just a lot of different options. You can go up and say, hey, I want to see the ones that I can reuse. Maybe there's some that I can just take a copy of it, use the template, and then I can build from there. So you can flip that switch and find that. You can also go in, click on education, and see, which ones are out there and available. All right, so you can kind of go through and do that. Now, any that have a star, I'll go ahead and tell you, if you see a gold star on the right, that means it's a premium template. That is a pay-for account. So you can view it. You're just not going to be able to use that. All right. So you can go and look at the inspiration board, and I think that's a great place to start for everybody. It's just to go out there. You've seen some I've shared with you, but you might want to take a look at some others. To start, we can go ahead and do Create Jean Lee. All right. And you have these different options. You can do presentations, infographics, gamification, interactive image, video presentation. You can do guides, training materials, more, and then a blank creation. If you want to just start from scratch, all right, you can do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, I thought a great way to launch into it, kind of easy way, is just let's start with kind of that image that I created for the Bagwell College. And let's take a look at how you go about doing that. There is a little video you can watch on how to create an interactive image, and you can watch that later. But I'm just going to go ahead and click the plus sign. And I can pull my images from my computer if there's a URL, or I can also search through Unsplash. If I don't have an image and I need to find one, I could do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double click on the box right here, and I am going to pull up from my computer the Bagwell College, a picture that I actually took, I believe. And it pops up into my window, and then I could just, pull my little corners out like this. All right. Now you have some options at the bottom. If you need to rotate it, obviously you can do that. If you need to flip it, you can do that, which is kind of nice. If you need to zoom in or zoom out, you can also do that. And then if you click this, it basically takes it to the full image. And click accept. And it takes just a minute to do that. Hopefully not too long, but let's see. There we go. All right, and when it first starts, this is kind of what you see when you first start off with an image. And you kind of see these two little animated, like I call them hot spots. And they kind of pulsate, which is pretty neat. What I'm going to do is I want to kind of go over the platform as I'm talking about, as I'm building. I want to kind of go through and talk about the platform. So let's start on the left over here. And these are our tabs on the left-hand side. And the very top one, you can go in and you can add, text anywhere onto your image. And you can scroll down on whether you want to use your title at the top or the title too, or you want to scroll down through here and you find one that you kind of like, you may find some text that you like. You can just kind of scroll down and let's see, maybe I'll choose that one. All right. And I'll just pop it up here. You can always change it. It's not that big a deal. You could just go and highlight it. BCOE virtual tour. Okay. And I can stretch that out if I want to. All right. Now, if you'll notice, once I have this selected, a toolbar opens up at the top, and I can go in and I can bold it if I need to, or if I want to. Hold on a second. There we go. Bold it, italicize it, underline it. If I want to highlight it, which I really don't want to do, I can do that. I can do uppercase, lowercase. So isn't that nice to be able to just flip that really easily? I can go in if I want to create a shadow or have a shadow effect, I can do that. I also can center it, you know, just like a regular toolbar, just like if you use Word, it works pretty much the same way. If I have multiple lines, I can increase the height. So you can go about and do that, where there's more space in between your lines or less. I can also have paragraph spacing, and I can change that. Maybe I want to space my letters out further. I can do that as well. All right. And so that's just, I'm just going to leave that there, and I can play with that. I can go in also if I want to change that font, if I decide, you know, I'm just not too crazy about that font. I just don't know if I like it. I can go in and maybe let's take a look. Maybe we change it to something like that. You know, we can just kind of look and change it to whatever we want. Also to the left, what if I want to change the color? I could do that. If I wanted to change it more to a gold, I could do something like that. All right. If I want to change the transparency, I can pull that down a little bit or back up. All right. And position, that just basically positions it, whether it's on the left, center, right. I just can kind of click and drag it, so I don't really use that much. This is for putting in order. If you layer, you'll use this function right here. We're really not doing that right now. You can also copy it. So if I wanted to make multiple copies of it, I could do that, and I could also cut it out at that point. So that's basically your toolbar. All right. Now, we've already looked at image. We just did that a few minutes ago, right? So we went through, and you can add images. Just to let you know, let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of this in the middle here. There we go. So if I wanted to go through and add an image, they have tons of images that you can go and search through, like cutouts. If you wanted a phone or what have you, you can go and click show more. Same thing with Unsplash and Pixabay. And I use Pixabay a lot, actually. So you could do a search. You know, you can just type something like collagen, whatever, you know, whatever you want to type in for your search criteria. And then it brings up copyright-free images that you can pull over. But we've already got an image, and I don't really need one in this case. So, you know, but this is just something that, you know, you do have the capability to do that in any of your presentations. Resources, you can bring icons over, you can bring shapes over if you want to. There's graphs and charts that you can pull over. Lines, arrows, illustrations. And I love the illustrations. The colors kind of go, and you kind of see, I think you've seen in some of the examples that I gave you, some of these characters and the, you know, the different colors and the color themes, which I really like a lot. There's maps, silhouettes, etc. And basically you just take it and drag it over. Really easy. You have interactive elements, and that's what you see here. You see these two elements right here. And so we're going to stop here for a second. And like, for instance, if I wanted to go here and I want to change it, I don't want it to be purple, first of all. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to go up to my color palette right here, and I'm going to choose this gold color, a little bit lighter, I think. Okay. And I'm going to, once I do that, then I think I'll make a few copies of it. All right. So I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it several times so I can just quickly have some icons that I can pull out and put on my page. May not need that many, but I have one down here and maybe an extra one. This one I don't really need, so I'm going to get rid of it. So let's take a look and, for instance, let's say that we're going to use this one. We want to know more about KSU. So what I can do is I can actually look at this icon and I want to replace it. I want to have like an information icon there. So what I might do is look for an I or something like that. Let's see, let's take a look. Why don't we do this one and replace it. And once you do that, it keeps the color. Isn't that great? So you don't have to go back and recolor it or anything like that. You'll notice you have two different icons. And this one allows you to go in, and this makes interactivity. So what happens when you click on it? The one right beside it that looks like a meteor is kind of the animation piece. Now, these are already animated. Let me get rid of that one too. These are already pulsating. So I don't know that I'm going to add any more animation to them, but you can do that. You could have extra animation if you want it, but I'm going to kind of keep it simple for this one. So I'm going to go in, click on it, and I'm going to go in for the interactivity and click on the hand. And so I can go in and I can have a tooltip, which when you hover over it, it comes up with text. All right. But I think what I'm going to do in this case is I am going to pull up a window, and I can always change my mind. If I want to put a link or if I want to make it a tooltip, I can do that. But in this case, I've got some text that I have already pulled up about the Bagwell College of Education. All right. And I may bump that text up a little bit. And I may, I could color it. If I wanted to, I could put a picture above it right here. I could put a picture here. You just click on the picture. You could put links. Works exactly the same, like any other editor you're ever in. It pretty much works the same. And I also can make it small, medium, or large. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. All right. So now that element is active. Let's just take a quick look at it. And when I click here, it pops up with that information. All right. And let's go back and edit some more. So let's do some other things. Why don't we can pop in our YouTube. I'm going to replace that. I'm going to go find the icon for like a player icon, right? Like YouTube. All right. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to pull this window up. And I have a link for the Bagwell College of Education. And let me hop over, before I do that though, let me hop over here to YouTube real quick. And here is, so let's say you have, whether it's in Mediaspace or YouTube or any of those platforms, you basically will go to the share icon. And what I did is I got the embed code. All right, so I got the embed code. Well, actually, you don't have to do the embed code. Let me rephrase that. You can do it. You don't have to in this respect. I'm just going to copy the link right here. All right. And the embed code, some people may have never worked with the embed code. Don't worry about that if you haven't. But you can get the link like I just showed you by just share, copy the link, and then you go back to your editor. Okay, let's see. All right, and I'm going to go here. And I'm going to, again, select window, and I'm just going to pop that in there. And you'll notice there is my video. So I could put, whatever title I want to, I can put that on there. I could say virtual tour. And if I want to bold that and make it a lot larger, I can do that. All right. And then simply save it. And that's how easy it is. So then when you go in and I click, there's the video, and then you can play the video. All right. I can go back again and I can edit more. Here I want to add that picture. So I'm going to replace that one, and I'm going to have a little picture icon for that. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to have my window one more time. And in this case, I'm going to pop in a picture. So I could either drag and drop it, or I could just double click on it, and I can go in and put that picture right there. And if I want to make it larger, I can just, increase it like that. And I can save it. So you see how I'm easily building this. It's not hard to do. You can also, if you want to include that map that I was showing you earlier, here is the map for Bagwell. So I pulled it up on Google Maps. All right. If you go to the share button, all right, there's a copy link, but in this case, I'm going to embed it. All right, and it basically takes the HTML code, and I know that seems like, what is that? I've never worked with that. It's not difficult. It's not really hard, but just click copy. All right, and then you pop back over to your editor, okay? And so let's say we want to maybe do this one, and we're going to replace it, and we're going to find the little, where is it? There it is. Replace that, okay? And then we're going to hop right here. We're going to have a window. Now, if you notice at the very end of the toolbar, it says Code View. All right, if you click there and I do a Control V and I pop that command in there, all right, you're like, wow, what does that mean? It's just computer speak. Don't worry about it. Just click Save. All right, and then once you do that, let's take a look at it. All right. There's our icon, right? I click on it and there's the map. There it is right there. You can go back in. If you look at it, one thing that I noticed, it was over to the left a little bit. I can go in and I can align it and I can center it if I want to and just save it. All right. So you can go through and you can put this information in, like I said. If you wanted to go in and put some information like maybe about the building itself, I could go in and click the, that hand once again. And this is a tooltip. This is just going to pop up when you hover over it. And I'm going to put some information in about our building. And, the building was named for the Bagwells. All right. And so when you hover over it, that will come up. So I do want to replace that though. And maybe I'll just put a dot on it or something like that. You can pick whichever one you like. And so let's take a look at that. When you go in and you view it and you hover over it, it gives you that information. All right. So you see we've added pictures, we've added maps, we put images in there, here, and I have an image for the owl right here too. So for instance, right here, if I want to, we can see the owl, but it's not right, from the front. So I actually took a picture. And so I'm going to go ahead and replace that. And I'm going to find that picture icon once again somewhere. Where is it? Oh, that's funny. I don't see it for some reason. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Oh, there it is, right in front of me. Okay, so I want to replace it, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to get a window open again, and I'm going to insert my image, and I'm going to double click, and then here, let's see, I believe it's that one right there. There he is. All right, and we can pull this out. And again, you can edit it. Like I said, if you want to put text in there, titles, whatever you want to put in there, you can add to it. And you can click Save. All right. Last but not least, what about all our social networks? What about if we pull our Twitter over and our YouTube over? What about our Indeed? Pinterest, there may be all kinds. Basically, you could just take it, right, line it up. You see this, when you start aligning, you see the right there, that line that pops up, that that you have your icons lined up rather. All right, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to click again on the interactivity icon. This time though, I'm going to click link, and I'm going to get the Twitter link for the Bagwell College of Education, and I'm just going to pop that guy right in there. Okay, and I have an option to replace the Genially in the same tab or to open a tab. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new tab so it'll go outside of Genially and actually open it up. All right, so let's take a look. Let's go out and take a look one more time and see how it looks. We've got a few that I've left, but we've added, again, we added the picture of our owl, right? Our statue out there. And also Twitter. So it pops me over to our Twitter feed. Isn't that great? And so we can go through and see all the great things that we're doing, including getting our new Dean Epps, who's fantastic, right? So imagine this. I just want you to think. I know a lot of you are from different colleges, and you may have never thought about putting something like this together. I've actually created something like this before. I have a virtual tour for the Innovation Lab, so I've kind of worked on this kind of project before. But this may be something new you haven't thought of in a very visual way that you can actually put something together and do. All right, so we're going to go back to edit. Now that we're done, we want to make sure, of course, that we name it. So we might want to say BCOE Virtual Tour. Okay. And we want to make sure it's saved. This is saving. And it's saved at this point. And then we can go back to our home page. And once we're there, there is the BCOE Virtual Tour. And you notice right here, you have the icon. This looks like a little person with a plus sign. If you click on it, you can actually email people and they become collaborators. So if you want to work on this image, you might have some different people in your group that wants to add the video, that may want to add, information or some documents or whatever it might be. You can have, multiple people working on it or students working on it. You may assign this and students are working in teams. And basically somebody sets it up, shares it out, and then everybody can edit it. All right. So that's one thing to know. But once you're done, you want to click on the ellipses right here, and you want to click Publish. And once you click Publish, you'll notice that, again, with private, remember we talked about that. That's if you want to just keep it for yourself, then that's something you have to pay for. But this is going to be public, meaning that anybody will be able to find it and see it. It doesn't mean that they can use it for their own. It doesn't mean that they can take it and modify it. The only way they can do that is if you click here and you say that you want others to be able to use it, then you can toggle that switch right there. You have a title, you can put in a description, and then you can click All Set. All right. Once you've done that, then you have basically two options. The third option, again, is a premium. So if you wanted to download it, you'd have to pay for that. But you can present it. You can also share it. So let's take a look. When we present, this is the link right here that you would take and you would share out, if you're going to send it out, put it in an email, etc. This would be it. And we can see that all of these have, kind of an animation piece to it. And of course, I didn't finish these two, but that's okay. We can kind of see how this works. And of course, you could have moved those icons wherever you want to, right? But if we go back, so that's to present it. If we want to share it, we click on Share, and we can copy the link here, all right? We can also get the embed code. Remember, we just talked about embed code with Google Maps. So there are times when you want to use an embed code. So for instance, if you want to embed this into your blog, or if you have a Weebly, or if you have a web page, you can get this, get the HTML code here and click copy, and then you'd have to go to that other platform and paste it in. And I think I kind of showed you that a minute ago, how I pasted in the HTML code for the map, and it was able to pop in and show up. So many of you may never use this, but it is there, and just wanted you to be aware of it. Most of you will probably just take the link and you'll share the link out. You can also send it via email, so you can put people's email addresses in there. You can send it to social networks, so your Facebook, Twitter, etc. And then you can also share it to your Google Classroom or your Microsoft Teams account. Now, it will prompt you, I know with Teams, it'll ask you which team, and basically it pops it into the chat for that team, okay, or your posts. And so you can do that on your own. You know, it's not that big a deal. You could go into Teams and just put the link into the chat and be done with it. But that's not really, you know, either way, if you want to go this route, you can, or if you want to manually do it yourself, it's fine. So I'm going to stop for a second. Tracy, did anybody have any questions so far?
Yes, we've had a couple of questions. One of them, let me go back up. If a student creates something, how do they submit to the professor? But I think you just showed us how to get the link and to send it out.
Yep.
Is there a password on that, or there's no password involved?
I think you have an option when you publish it. I don't know that I actually didn't try the password part of it. I think you had a password option here. Let's look at this one. Let's see. I already published it. Let's see. Already published it. Let's do it to draft form. Okay, that's right. Accept. I think then I can publish it. Publish. Reusable. No, see again, that's what I thought. That is a pay for feature.
Okay, so, no problem. No problem here. Okay, another question. How do we post as lectures in D2L for online classes? And I'm assuming that create the link.
Yep, create the link, or you can do a widget if you've ever used widgets before, and you can get the code and pop that code into your widget and do it that way.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is this accessible?
It is not accessible from the standpoint of being certified accessible. No, it's not. They don't have, there's not a way to put alt, you know, like alt tabs or whatever, like on pictures and that kind of thing. You can record your voice. So the text, you could record reading it, which is great, but it is not completely accessible. That's one thing when we looked at it last year, because we thought, oh, wow, you know, I actually had pulled one up. I'll show you this one. I had created this one thinking, you know, wow, maybe this could be something we could use strictly for content, right? But when we looked into it, we found out, no, not exactly, because it's not truly accessible. And it's unfortunate. I've emailed them several times about it. They're not there yet. I don't know if they ever will be there yet. But, you know, it's just like if you look at this as a PowerPoint or a presentation type application, then I think that, you know, you kind of probably need to think about it more like that than one that can be embedded and that is, you know, truly accessible. So hopefully that answered your question.
All right. I believe that's it on the questions so far.
Okay. I'm going to try and hop in here and do a little bit more. So I'm going to create another Jean Lee. This time we're going to look at presentations. And with presentations, there are tons, again, and some of these they're so great. Like, look at this one. This is a pay for. You see the little star right here? If you click on it, all right, and when you start looking at the animations and the graphics, they're just stupendous. I just love them. So good, so good. And that's, you know, that's some of the difference. That's where, you know, some of you might say, oh, I think it's definitely worth it to go ahead and pay whatever, $50 a year for this. You know, you may or may not. I don't know. But anyway, that's just one of them. But you can scroll down and you can see, you know, like here's one on STEM. I know for our science faculty. All right, so you can kind of see, again, just some of the graphics, etc. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just because we did the, we looked at the pyramids, and I like that ancient Egypt template. I thought maybe there's some other ones. And there's one that's, you know, one on Egypt that I thought, hey, I think I'll use this one. This will be great. So I'm going to go ahead and use that template. It's free and I can use it. All right. Now, when you first open it up, it shows you all the pages. Oh my goodness, there's tons of pages here, right? You can select all and then you can delete whatever you don't want. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I may pick just a few. Okay, maybe just a few here. Yeah, I'll probably just do 3 or 4 because we're getting, time goes fast, doesn't it? It's like, wow. All righty. So it's creating. My presentation is pulling that template up. And here, hold on a second. Actually, where did my title page go? Here, let me go back. Did not do, missing my title page. Hold on just a second. Let me try that again. All right, let's see here. I think it pulled up here. Let's see. Hold on a second. Yeah, I pulled this one up before. Okay, so let me show you kind of what I did with this one. And I'll go back and kind of, show you how I did it. So with this, I selected certain pages, just like I showed you a few minutes ago. And I chose just like 4 or 5 pages. And so this is the title page. And you'll notice like Egypt right here. You can go in, and what's kind of neat about it is you can go and you can pull in some animation if you want to. So what can you do? You get this extra icon that you didn't really see in that interactive image that I did, right? So this is a new, kind of a new feature, or a feature that you have with presentations. So I can go in and I can actually see by just hovering over, the different type of effects, like fade in, bounce, rotate. So I can pull in, like I kind of like that fade in. And I can also change it here, how fast, how many seconds it takes for it to come in, etc. Right? And I can do that, or I can say it's continuous, etc. So what does that look like when I preview it? All right, it can come in like that, and you can just, you can modify it. So you can put some animation to it, which is really kind of neat. I was going to show you at the bottom of the page here. Well, a couple things. Let me go back over to my left, because I did want to show you 2 things. We just have about 6 minutes left. If you wanted to go in, let's say you have a completely blank background and you don't have any background images, you could put a solid color if you wanted to, but I wanted to show you the library. Like, for instance, if you look, some of these will show up kind of as your, as your background. So you could pick any of these. What I really love, though, is look at these animated backgrounds, and you can hover over them. And I don't really need one for Egypt because I've got a really pretty background. But check out this one with the flowers and the monarch butterfly. So if you're studying about butterflies or plants, wouldn't that be a great one to put in there? Put some text with it. So there are animated backgrounds that you can use and pull in. I'm not really doing that here, but I did want you to see that. That's the way you do that. All right. So anyway, so I've got that. The other thing that I have this little start button that I went in, and I want to go in and actually have it. Do I want it to do any kind of effect? I could have it fade in, I could have it bounce, turn on, swirl, etc. So I might have it fade into, kind of like that. And I can change the speed, etc. All right. But what is it supposed to do? Where will it go? I can have it go and have it like something hover over it, like a little piece of text. I can pop a window in just like I did before. But the thing that you can do on this that you wouldn't do on the other is you could actually have it to go to a page in your presentation. So I could have it go to, say, my index, or if I wanted to go to an interactive experience, I could do that. So I can have it go right here, and I can click save. And what happens is when you go and you click on it, all right, to present it, I have my start, all right? And when I click here, it takes me to my index page. Now, it probably would have done that anyway, because look, I'm going back and forth, so it would have done that. But think about if you have a presentation with many, many different pages, you could go to this index page, and then I could choose, I could choose one of these, and I will do that. For instance, it's interactive, and it pops me to my interactive page where I go and I see the pyramids of Giza. I've embedded my pyramids of Giza Gene.ly into another Gene.ly, which is pretty cool that you can do that. So let me show you how you go about doing that. So let's just go back to our pages view. And I think what I'm going to do is I will make a copy of this, and I'm going to get rid of that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I will go in and I'm going to click on Insert. And here you can click on audio. So if I want to record something, like for instance, if I want to give them an interactive experience, I want to talk about it, all I have to do is click here. Enjoy your interactive experience with the pyramids of Giza. And it'll actually pop that in and will play for you. Enjoy your interactive experience with the pyramids of Giza. Sorry about that, a little bit loud. Okay, and I can autoplay that as soon as it goes into the slide. All right, I can loop it, etc. But I'm just going to have it autoplay. All right, and I'm going to kind of move that out of the way a little bit. And then I'm also going to include, remember I told you have to get that HTML code. And you, just like when you go back to the share button, when you go back, I have that pyramids, and when I go to share, I actually pulled the HTML code and I pop it right here and I insert it. And when I do, there you go. It's there, and I can increase it in size. Okay, I can do that. And it's an amazing thing. You can put so much in here. Let me go back to pages one more time. And let me show you, last but not least, let me show you charts. And charts, I'm going to go ahead and delete this one out. All right. And here we go. Let me get rid of this. No, I don't want to delete the page, but I do want to delete that. All right, let me just move it down. It's just not want to go. Okay, so let's look at, we have two ways to add. We can either go in and add a chart here. I can show more here. And let's say I want to do this vertical stack bar chart. I can add that, or I can add a smart block. And a smart block gives you not only a chart, but it also gives you different, maybe some text with it as well. So you can pop in one of these. So for instance, if I wanted to pop this one in right here, I could do that. Now, let me show you how you change the data. You click inside the graph itself. There's a little bar, a little icon right here, and you can choose your colors, which I have here, or I can go to data, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out all the data. All right, I'm getting rid of all the data that's here, delete it. And then I have a little spreadsheet that I pulled up, and that I'm going to copy population of some cities in Egypt. And I'm going into this little paste box right below it. And even though you paste it, it doesn't show up for whatever reason. It's kind of strange. So what happens is you look here and you can see it popped in my information automatically. I will tell you, it is not, you don't have access to go in and add legends, change the legends that much, change the numbers, change whatever. It's limited in that respect. But what I can do is I can change my axis. So if I want to look at the city information one way for the cities, I can click on this little arrow, this up arrow up here. I don't know if you're seeing it, but it's up at the top of my spreadsheet, and it changes the view. Basically, it changes the view of my spreadsheet of the data that I'm looking at. And then I can go over here and type whatever other information I want in as well. There's a lot, and I'm already a minute over. There's a ton you can do with Gene.ly. There's games, there's infographics. There's just so much you can do, and it's a lot to cover in an hour. But I hope I've given you a good overview of it. Are there any questions, Tracy, that I can help anybody with?
Yes, Ethel is asking,
Okay.
where would
Tracy,
you change language?
Tracy,
Yes.
somebody asked about accessibility and say that if it's not accessible, then we can't use it. I think that was Virginia.
Yeah, you can't use it maybe inside of D2L, but you could use it for presentations and things like that that you're giving.
Correct.
Okay. So if I'm teaching a course in D2L and I want my students to use Genially, how do I do that if I can't use it in D2L?
They can use it. I mean, I guess the thing is, Ethel, you'd have to, see if any students, I mean, are they using PowerPoint? Are your student using PowerPoint?
They may.
Yes. Because if they're using any form of presentation software, they could use Genially. The thing that what you have to think about with D2L, when you embed this into D2L, you're expected for your materials to be accessible. All right. When students, if they're creating a presentation, they're not under those same guidelines necessarily. So they could use this to do presentations, create infographics, etc., just like they would with PowerPoint.
Okay, let me ask the question another way. For example, we're doing infographics.
Okay.
One of my assignments. If my students create infographics in Genially, can they put that in the Dropbox and I access it?
They can put the link in there. They could also, I mean, you know how you have to create a document and put the link to whatever whatever the project is. It would work exactly the same way. However they share a link to their work, it would work exactly the same way.
Okay.
They would go in. Let's say, for instance, I'm your student. I created this this Egypt project, right? So I would go here. I'd click share. I would copy the link. I would go to D2L and I would either email it to you or I would put it in the document that you have to upload into the assignments. You know how you normally do that?
In the Dropbox.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Then, okay. I'm sorry about this. The presentation that you created, the language was in Egyptian. Where do we go to change that?
Are you talking about the font?
The language was in Egyptian when you put in the cities. If you look when you put in the cities.
Oh, that's just, they put that, it's not even Egyptian. It's just, I don't know what it is. That's just any language that they put in. It's not really language. Like right here, here's this right here. They can go in and they can edit that. They can put, hello, Ethel.
Got you. You didn't say that. So I was looking at it and go, how do I change that? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just click right inside and edit it. It's real simple. Anybody else?
Virginia has a question.
Okay.
Hey, Virginia, you want to read it or should I?
Yeah, I can.
Virginia said, I require my student to submit accessible work. They will have vision impaired professors and peers, and one day they will have students of their own, employees, employers, client, customers, whatever, who have disabilities, who have disabilities. So it's the accessibility she's talking about.
Right. In Virginia, I can understand that. I mean, that's definitely something that you have to look at. And as working in the College of Education, we obviously do that. I think that people, I think when you look at what your students are submitting now, do they ever submit just a PowerPoint to you? Do they submit, there's a lot of platforms out there right now in education that may not be considered completely accessible. And so I guess that's the thing is if you strictly are wanting 100% accessible platforms, then this probably wouldn't be what you'd want, but it's a great presentation tool. Anybody else?
I don't see any other questions.
Okay, well, everybody, thank you for joining me today. I hope that you learned some great things about Jean Lee. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And I guess with that, we'll call it a wrap.
Thank you, and I'll definitely be in touch.
That'd be great, Ethel. I hope to hear from you.
All right, I'm going off to an appointment, so